I never used to watch the clock. It would have been strange to me, 3 months ago, sitting in the kitchen, eyes glued to the minute hand as if time was running away from me. But here I am, perched on a stool that used to feel comfortable, waiting for Tom to walk through the door. The cold air from the slightly cracked window brushes against my arms, but I do not move to close it. Maybe I am trying to feel something real, something other than this growing pit in my stomach. For 20 minutes now, I have been staring at his phone on the counter. He forgot it this morning, rushing out like he always does. I almost called him to let him know, but then I stopped myself. Why bother? He never calls or texts anymore unless it is something to do with Sophie, our daughter. Sophie is the only thing that still ties us together. She is 8, with bright curly hair that bounces when she runs. And for a while, I told myself that is why he still comes home late, why he still asks how my day was, even if his eyes never quite meet mine. But then, things started shifting in small, almost unnoticeable ways. Now, when he holds my hand, it feels like he is doing it out of habit, not love. The first real moment of doubt came 2 weeks ago, at Sophie's parent-teacher conference. Her teacher, Mrs. Adams, is a warm, kind woman, maybe in her late 30s, always wearing floral blouses that seem out of place in the gray windowless classroom. Tom and Mrs. Adams were standing too close, laughing about something while I filled out a form. Their eyes met longer than necessary, and I felt it then, the unmistakable sting of suspicion. It was as if the world tilted, just slightly, and my reality did not feel steady anymore. I watched them from the corner of my eye, my heart pounding, while Tom's smile stretched wider than I had seen in months. At home, I pretended it was nothing. Maybe they had been laughing at a joke I did not hear. But the doubt lingered, and I began to notice more. Tom was working late often, coming home after midnight smelling like cologne I did not recognize. And he was more distant, not just with me, but with Sophie too. Then, last night when I went to grab something from his phone, he usually left it on the dining table during dinner. I saw something. There were photos, all from the same woman. She was younger than me, maybe in her 20s, and she looked perfect. Too perfect. In one of the photos she wore nothing but lingerie, her lips painted red. I remember feeling like someone had punched me in the chest, and the world around me blurred. I put the phone back exactly where it was and walked upstairs without a word. I did not sleep much that night. My mind kept spinning, trying to make sense of it all. How long had this been going on? Why had I not noticed sooner? There were moments that seemed so clear now. The way he would sit at the far end of the couch during movie nights, or how he stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings. It was as if I had been living in someone else's life, blind to my own reality. The front door opens. Tom steps inside, shaking off the rain from his coat. His face is flushed from the cold, but there is something different in his eyes, a heaviness that I have not seen before. He glances at the phone on the counter, and for a brief second, I think I see fear flicker across his face. He picks it up, his fingers tapping the screen quickly, as if he is searching for something. Maybe to delete something. Busy day at work? I ask, my voice coming out more casual than I feel. Yeah, a lot of things came up. He replies without looking at me. There's a long silence. My heart is pounding in my chest, so loudly I am surprised he cannot hear it. I swallow hard and stand up, my hands trembling slightly as I walk toward him. He looks up, and our eyes finally meet, but there is nothing familiar in his gaze. It is like looking at a stranger. You forgot your phone this morning, I say, gesturing toward it. His body stiffens. Yeah, I noticed, he says, his voice tight. Tom, I need to ask you something. My voice cracks slightly, and I hate myself for sounding weak. But I cannot hold back anymore. He shifts uncomfortably, but he does not move. What is it? Who is she? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. For a second, he looks confused, as if he does not understand the question. Then his face hardens and he steps back, running his hand through his hair. What are you talking about? The woman, I say, my voice growing louder. The one in your phone, the one sending you pictures. Do not lie to me, Tom. The words hang in the air between us, heavy and cold. I watch him struggle to find something to say, but the truth is already written all over his face. He does not deny it. He does not even try. It was a mistake, he finally says, his voice low, almost defeated. It happened. It just happened, I repeat, the words feeling foreign on my tongue. You expect me to believe that? I take a step closer to him, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. All the emotions I have been holding back for months come rushing to the surface. Anger, betrayal, sadness. How long, Tom? How long have you been seeing her? He looks down at the floor, his shoulders slumping. A few months. A few months. The words hit me like a slap across the face. All this time, while I was trying to hold our family together, he was sneaking around behind my back. My mind races with questions, but there is one thing I need to know above all else. Do you love her? He hesitates for a moment, and that is all I need to know. The silence speaks louder than any words ever could. I turn away from him, my body trembling. Everything we built together, our home, our family, our life, it all feels like a lie now. I want to scream, to cry, to throw something, but I cannot. All I can do is stand there, numb, as the weight of his betrayal crushes me. But then, something clicks in my mind. The photos. They were not just some random affair. I had seen them before. Not the woman, but the photos themselves. I had seen them on Sophie's school website in a different context. The woman was not some stranger. She was Mrs. Adams, Sophie's teacher. I turn back to Tom, my voice barely more than a whisper. It was her, was not it, Mrs. Adams? He looks at me shocked, and for the first time, I see real fear in his eyes. I feel sick. It was not just the affair. He had been doing this with someone who knew our family, someone we trusted with our daughter. The betrayal runs deeper than I could have ever imagined. You were at her house last night, were not you? I ask, my voice shaking. Tom says nothing, but his silence is all the confirmation I need. I walk upstairs without another word, leaving him standing in the hallway. I feel like I'm drowning in the realization that everything I thought I knew about my life was a lie. This was not just about cheating anymore. This was about the destruction of trust, of love, of everything I believed in.